The moon cast a pale silver glow over the desert plains, its light stretching long shadows across the dry earth. Silence blanketed the land, broken only by the distant howl of a coyote. Beneath that vast sky, a woman sat in stillness outside her cabin, her eyes fixed on the horizon. She had been alone for many years, a widow who seldom spoke, her silence mistaken for weakness. But behind that quiet gaze lived a history few would ever guess, one shaped by pain, survival, and the deadly precision of Apache knife fighters who once called her their sister. When the ruffians came to her homestead that night, they believed they were hunting prey. They did not know the widow they cornered was no ordinary woman, but a blade trained in silence, sharpened by loss and resilience. Before the tale continues, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the strength of the human spirit, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to The Gentle Truth. Your support helps us bring more heartfelt stories to life. Her name was Clara, and she had not always lived in silence. Once she had laughed, sung, and shared her heart openly. But the frontier had a way of stripping joy away. When her husband was killed by bandits and her son taken by fever, she was left with nothing but grief. She wandered, broken, until she stumbled into Apache lands, nearly starving. Instead of killing her, they fed her, sheltered her, and taught her skills she never expected to learn. She became a silent observer of their way, learning the weight of the knife, the patience of the hunt, and the power of endurance. By the time she returned to the world of settlers, Clara had buried her grief beneath layers of calm strength. She built her small home on the edge of the plains and lived quietly, unseen. But men like the ones who rode up that night rarely left anyone in peace. 5 of them, rough in their laughter and cruel in their eyes, surrounded her cabin with greedy intentions. They had heard of a widow living alone, and they smelled weakness. "Easy pickings," one sneered, slamming his fist on her door. Another circled behind, testing the latch on her stable. Clara sat inside, silent, her breath steady. To them, she was a prize to be claimed. To her, they were intruders crossing into a place of quiet she had fought too hard to earn. The challenge was not fear. She had none left to give. The struggle lay in restraint. She had promised herself never to raise her hand in violence again, never to let the old lessons surface. But as they broke her door and dragged her into the open, laughter echoing, that promise cracked. Their laughter carried the same echoes as the men who killed her husband. Their jeering voices awakened a storm she had long tried to bury. The first one reached for her arm, mocking her silence. His hand never found its grip. In a swift, fluid motion, Clara's knife gleamed in the moonlight, pressed against his throat before he understood she had moved. The others froze, startled by the sudden transformation of the quiet widow into something fierce and unyielding. Her movements were not wild but precise, every step echoing the discipline of Apache training. She disarmed one with a flick, spun with a grace that sent another sprawling into the dirt. What followed was not chaos, but clarity. The ruffians discovered too late that they were not hunters, but prey caught in the calm gaze of a woman who had nothing left to lose. She left them alive, but broken in pride, crawling away into the night with the weight of humiliation heavier than any wound. When the silence returned, Clara stood in the moonlight, her breath steady, her knife glinting. She had not sought violence, but she had defended the home she built, the peace she earned. And as she wiped the blade clean and set it aside, she felt no triumph, only the ache of memories that had forced her hand once again. Yet deep in her heart she knew one truth: silence was not weakness. Silence was power, honed sharp as steel. Her story spread in whispers, carried by those who survived that night. They spoke of a widow who never spoke, yet whose knives spoke louder than words. And Clara, sitting once more on her porch under the endless sky, knew that she had reclaimed not only her home, but the part of herself that refused to be broken. So, dear viewers, if this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of resilience, survival, and the quiet strength hidden in ordinary souls, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to The Gentle Truth. And before you go, leave us a comment. Do you believe silence can sometimes be the strongest voice of all?